What's up, everyone? Kevin Allen here, aka the Geek from DFS Army, and this is your Showdown breakdown. Where my turds at between the Thursday night contest between the Saints and the Cardinals. We got the crew together, and I got a special guest here, Hunter, to spit some knowledge, some knowledge about just Showdown statistics in general. So we've got a little bit extra going on for this one as well. But I'm excited about. Well, am I excited about this game? I think
yes.
Kyler Murray sucks,
which is fine. There's reason to be excited, Geek.
I'm excited about the game. There's a lot of injuries to deal with. There's all kinds of craziness going on in this one. But Hunter, before we get into the game itself, you wanted to tell me a little bit about, so all season long, if you guys have been following this, one of the things that I talk about, and I always scold both Bobbywow and Josh about, is ever using quarterbacks at captain on DraftKings. My theory is that quarterbacks have a hard time getting there, unless it's like certain guys, of course, with the legs, Josh Allen, Josh Allen types, Lamar Jackson types, anybody who runs. But beyond that, for the most part, these pocket passers, they have a hard time getting there. So, Hunter, you've got some knowledge to counter my argument, even though I will not change what I'm doing unless it's very compelling, because I have counter arguments.
I've been in the geek camp on this too. Like I believe this too, and I was like, let me validate this because I'm doing all this research, and I was like, I want to see what the actual statistics are. And I was really, this was the most surprising of everything, because what I was looking for was, are there any specific positions? When I talk about a specific position, I'm talking about salary banded positions. So WR1, as it's defined as a high priced, wide receiver on that team. So some teams may have 2 WR1s, some may have none. But anyways, I'm looking for, were there any outliers, like positions that would constantly be hit into the captain position across all games? And then I started digging in deeper on looking at over-unders and all these other factors, but to see if I could get those to occur. But generally speaking, it's what you kind of think. It's quarterbacks, WR1s, and running back ones on the favored team.
They're that's the expensive category, right?
That's the expensive category, and the most predominantly captain play that is in the nuts for those 3 positions. So it's important to understand, though, that also 64% of the time, it is a favored team that is in the captain position in the nuts across 360 games or so that I looked at. One of the surprising things was the quarterback is actually a higher percentage occurrence as captain in the nuts than any other individual position.
Interesting. Now, I believe that would be skewed to not just certain quarterbacks, but running quarterbacks, because obviously the Josh Allens, Lamar Jacksons, and Kyler Murrays of the world, or Jalen Hurts more so. I don't want to put Kyler Murray in it. Fucking guy doesn't run anymore.
Yes, and it is certainly skewed and influenced by those guys.
Like if you eliminate that group, where does the number go? Because those guys, they almost always hit it when they're in there, right? So it's hard for anybody to pass Jalen Hurts on a Jalen Hurts slate.
Yeah. Okay. So for instance, across the 300 and some games that I looked at, 69%, which is or 69 of those, which I think equated to
that'd be 23%,
20 something percent. Let's see, 25%, I think, something like that. No, I'm sorry.
Should be 23%, 22, 23,
19% captain for quarterback, and that's comparatively, just to give you kind of a reference. It's not a sizable increase over RB1 or WR1, but RB1 and WR1 both came in at 17% each. Okay, so small bump up from that. Now that's also I wanted to look at and see, okay, who were the quarterbacks that actually hit that? And yes, you're right. Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Kyler Murray last year mainly, and like
you got to probably have there's probably a Tom Brady in there because he spreads it around a little bit.
Yep.
I could see a couple of these other.
There's a lot more than you would think, Geek. So out of the 69, only 27 of those were one of the 5 what I would consider predominantly running quarterbacks, and that includes guys like Taysom Hill, who had like a few games where he exceeded. So
I think it still speaks to what I said, because if now you're talking about only, so you said 18% of the time these quarterbacks are in the nuts, right? But we eliminated 50% of those occasions, which were running quarterbacks. So if we look at non-running quarterbacks, what you've left me with is 9% of the time a pocket passer finds his way in there. And here's the thing with that. I think there's some other quarterbacks that run a little bit that we're probably not looking at. And the second part of that is quarterbacks are played in the captain position, usually at a rate of about 25 to 27% per slate. So if we're talking about, and we eliminate those running quarterbacks, we're still talking about only 9% hit rate relative to 18 to 20 to 25% rostership rates. So,
well, that's a good segue into tonight's slate, because I think Kyler Murray, for instance, which we would qualify as a running quarterback, we're only projecting right now at something like 17% captain play. So
he's somebody who could get there
but I agree to some extent that, like, if you want to look at it of like the type of quarterback, you need to do the same thing with the other positions, like the type of receiver and the type of running back. Like, is this a running back who catches passes predominantly, or like what we consider like a stud running back, as opposed to just whatever the WR1 or the RB1 is for that team, right? Like Christian McCaffrey or or Derrick Henry or the whatevers. Like, they hit more often than the Joe Schlub RB1 that's still probably going to be priced up in that RB1 range. So yeah, I mean, generally the statement is the good plays hit, and the ones that are less good hit less, right? So
I think there's some actionability, but I also think that it almost proves the opposite point as well, because those running quarterbacks are such a major component if they're half of the occasions. So then those other half of the occasions, and again, you really got to go deep into it, because you see the math does not allow these quarterbacks. You run sims, the math it rarely allows the pocket passer to get there, because the wide receivers it's the exact inverse of what happens on FanDuel, where the math just almost doesn't allow a pass catcher to get there unless they're doing absolutely everything. So it's really interesting, but I found that for me, my win rate, if I could just ignore, what it allows me to do is go heavier on less chalky positions at captain, which just increases my win rate when I do win. I don't need to win every single one. I'll accept the losses. That's the difference. I'll accept those losses. I don't try to win every showdown, but I do feel that over the course of a season, my win rate increases, because in every slate, when everybody's dedicating 30% of their captaincy or 35% of their captain spot to these quarterbacks, I just say, fuck them. I'm not doing it at all. So I've got 35% exposure spread around to turds like Turd Ferguson, who made it the other day, or some other crappy guy that you don't want to play because, like, shit, I got to play the quarterback and I don't have enough space left for all these other WR1s. Forget about finding like a WR3 that might pop off on a Greg Dulcich, a fucking Dulcich Deleche tight end who goes off and wins somebody a solo nut. So I like applying those. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if it does win.
I agree. And you have to take into consideration what the ownership is going to be like on those guys when you make those decisions. Because, to your point, like if it's call it a 9 or 10% chance that non-running quarterback is going to be a captain nuts, if they're going to be owned over that or at or over that, it doesn't make sense to play them, right? Because you're playing a lower risk play. a lower percentage play in an overly saturated market. So it like that those numbers don't match up. But when you have somebody that nobody likes, whatever, Matt Ryan or something playing, and he's going to be 4% owned in the captain, because he hasn't done shit all year or whatever. Or, take this game, for instance. We don't even know who the quarterback's going to be for New Orleans.
The only thing I know, Hunter, is I'm going to fade whoever it is.
Yeah. I was just going to say, and we don't care because that guy is not my captain. All right, let's get into this game. People are going to kill us if we talk strategy for 25 minutes. So let's get into this game. All right, we got some weirdness going on with injuries, right? But with the Cardinal side of it, Kyler Murray at the helm, he's fine. James Conner, he has not practiced. They're saying he's questionable. I think we have to assume that it's going to be Eno Benjamin again. So I'm just going with that assumption. But we learned last week, and we saw something that I've observed over time, which is this Cardinals team has not been producing well to the running back position when Connor was there, and they didn't produce well when Connor wasn't there. It didn't help that it was the backup. So buyer beware on Cardinals running back in general. Beyond that, they lose Marquise Brown, but they recover DeAndre Hopkins, who's back from injury, and he's not injury. He's back from suspension. He's roided up. He's in his best shape of his life, from what I understand. So all good with Hopkins. He slides right into the role that Marquise Brown was in. He's going to get lots of targets. Rondell Moore had a nice target share also last week. And if you see here, 30%. Zach Ertz always seems to get 10 targets a game. Doesn't do a ton with him, but he's a very, very safe, high target floor guy. Although I think if Hopkins could eat into anything, it's potentially this, because they run a similar style of short patterns. You don't really see Hopkins going deep, and neither does Ertz. They're all within the 10 yards of the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I wish we actually kept Brown on this list, because I think you could just relabel that as Hopkins. And
that's what we should.
That's the expectation.
And Browns had been peppered with targets, and now Hopkins will be peppered with targets. That's how it's going to go, and it's beautiful. We're happy with that.
Yeah, and I think two important things to note about Hopkins. One, like you mentioned, Geek, he's a full go. There's no indication that he's going to be limited in any way. It's not like he's coming off an injury. The injury thing from a long time ago is healed. So he's ready to go. He's ready for a full workload. The other thing that was really interesting to me, and this is obvious to some people, DeAndre Hopkins can't fix the offense, right? He can't fix all the woes. It's been brutally bad. But Kyler Murray's played 10 games with Hop and 10 games without. And I threw these in the notes, but in the 10 games with DeAndre Hopkins, he's around 280 passing yards, 106 passer rating, and 19 touchdowns with Hop. Without him, he's 240 passing yards and 84 passer rating. So there are some big numbers, some big differences that Hopkins makes just by being healthy and in the lineup.
I agree. Yeah. I love that.
I would say that some of those are also without Brown on the team from last year, right?
All of it, because Brown was, Hopkins and Brown have never been together. So yeah, all of it's going to be from that time frame. Looking at the Cardinals, there's not a whole lot of turdliness going on here in terms of other people that get a lot of usage. It's funny. Greg Dortch had a couple games earlier this season, but he went by the wayside as soon as Rondell Moore came back. AJ Green gets a couple of looks. I guess he's in that turd zone of might accidentally catch a touchdown any game. It could happen here. I don't see him doing a whole lot more than that. And actually, James Gills mentioned Keontae Ingram as a possibility. Wouldn't it just make sense that Eno, who was questionable, kind of got dinged around last week, just not a very good player, gets knocked out. Keontae Ingram. So I want to keep that as a good mention, and I want to keep Keontae Ingram in his mind. Backup running back is somebody we always play. Although, again, you don't really want to play running backs against the Saints, so I don't know how relevant or how much it matters. All right, jumping over to Nolans. I think it's going to be Jameis Winston.
It should be.
Yeah, he's healthy. They haven't announced it yet, so let's assume it's actually Jameis Winston at the helm for the Saints. Fine, okay. Alvin Kamara looking pretty good last couple games. Lots of targets from Andy Dalton. We'll see if that happens under a Jameis Winston regime.
Geek, I still think it's maybe a little more likely that Dalton starts. So, and I think the truth is it doesn't change things all that much either. But I think as of now, Dalton's a starter until he's not.
The only effect for me is like I said, Dalton has definitely shown a propensity to check down to Kamara, where just Winston just doesn't do that as often. He'll do it, but he definitely is not doing it as often, right?
Right.
So
right.
There's a little bit of, I think for the only one who really it matters that much is Kamara. Chris Olave will be back full health and will resume his role as like the primary passing game target on this offense. No Michael Thomas and Marquez Callaway. That was literally just because Olave was out. Callaway is not very good, but he'll probably be the WR2 in this matchup. You got Traquan. You got a whole bunch of garbage behind Marquez Callaway that I just don't like any of it. The Saints almost they harm my desire to play a showdown.
Especially Taysom Hill. Oh.
And then, of course, the Taysom Hill factor. You know he's scoring a touchdown in this game.
Yeah.
That's not the question, though. We'll get to that when we get to the list.
Yeah, it's going to happen. So, JP Holtz, Nick Vannell, no. But Taysom Hill, he's good. He's a good player, though. Everybody rips on Taysom. I think he's good. I think he's good at football.
Yeah, they should just put him as the primary quarterback.
I've said it many times. I think they would be better off as a team if they just made him that was not a bad idea by Sean Payton. That he should be the quarterback. It should be Taysom Hill. He throws well. He's not a bad thrower.
I think he opens up so much more opportunities for them with what he offers with his legs that it changes the way defenses have to respond.
Guys, we've done this. We've been through this experiment before. Taysom Hill got his chance.
He was good.
He was actually pretty good.
I thought he was good. He was not bad. This is what part that bothers me. He's better than most quarterbacks in the NFL right now. Would you not take Taysom Hill over pretty much like 50% of the quarterbacks in the league right now? I mean, I take Taysom Hill over Russell Wilson all day.
Oh, stop it.
My day.
Stop, Geek.
Okay. We better get back on track because this is going off the rails quick.
Without even thinking twice. All day. Now, before we move on, I have to remind me, I'm being told by my producer that I got to let everybody know. Number 1, like. Number 2, subscribe. Number 3, notification bell. Ring the bell. Number 4, because there's 4 items. Hold on. Oh, yeah. DFS Army. NBA tip-off was this week. We got a promo going. 20% off with promo code tip-off. Every package we sell over at DFS Army. Get the Domination Station Optimizer. Of course, who took down the big DraftKings tournament last night? DFS Army, not me. It should have been me, someone else, but still part of the crew. So we do it in the Army Club. VIP. All right, so make sure you get signed up for DFS Army. Promo code tip-off in honor of the launch of NBA. We crush NBA. By the way, my favorite part about our NBA, I love Bob's leverage plays. I love the cores from all the guys. My favorite part is Uppers in the chat, breaking news, breaking down the late breaking news, giving us analysis in real time. That helps my game. I can't play it any other way. I don't know how anybody else does it.
Yeah, and not only doing it, but doing it in a way where just a clown like me who doesn't fully get the NBA can understand and process it. So yes, totally right.
Same here, by the way. I cannot follow multiple sports at the same time. So I don't follow NBA during football season. And then by the time NFL is done, it's kind of like, hey, what are you doing here, mister? Get the fuck out of here, right? No one wants to. So it's like you're late to the game. It's every year. It's the same thing. So I just follow the notes, the projections. I don't really learn too much about NBA, but man, these guys kill it. So I'm super excited that NBA is back. Promo code tip-off, 20%. That's a locked-in rate. No, we never do that. 20% off. Deal of the century. All right. Let's talk captain. Bobbywow, take us through it. I can't find. I've been looking. I can't find. Where's Jameis Winston on the list or Andy Dalton? What's going on?
Hey,
Jameis
before we
Winston,
jump into the spreadsheet here, can I just give you a quick points from the Showdown Analysis? I know we don't have the article live.
Yeah, the article's not up yet. All right. So on the Showdown Analysis, give us what.
Let me just give you a couple of the bullet points here. So looking at all of last year and this year, with games of a total basic, like an over under total between 43 to 46, and the spread in the 0 to 4 range, right? Look, close game, mid to low end, over under. The predominant captain plays are going to be either the WR1 or WR2 from the dog team. So in this case, New Orleans, and they don't have a WR1. Not at least according to how we define WR1. So really, all that 27% hit rate goes into Olave. He's the only one that qualifies.
I love it.
So that's your best percentage play according to the statistics. The rest of it, like there's a bit of like, the favorite defense hitting, the a couple of the quarterbacks, wide receiver 1 or 2 from the favorite team and stuff like that. But it's pretty spread out for like across the spectrum for all of this. Really, the outlier is that the dog wide receiver. So the other thing is the stacking side of this. 70% of these lineups, over 70% of these lineups, are either stacked as a 3-3 or a 4-2 with the captain. So if you put Olave in the captain spot, stack him with 3 other guys from the Saints in the flex.
I don't know if I can even find
two or three, either 2 or 3
usable players from the Saints, but kickers. So low scoring games. The other thing I would throw out there, but that's really interesting. So captain in a 3-3 or a 4-2, and underdog WR. We don't have a WR1 on this team, so it all goes to Olave. Olave's the best play, by the way. Let's keep it real. Him and Hopkins. That's who I think are the better captains. But Bobbywow, take us through the captain spot here. You got Kyler Murray up top. Obviously, Murray has not had the greatest start, but Hopkins is back, and maybe things will turn around.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's definitely something to consider. Easily the highest projection on the slate for Kyler, and we know he's got that rushing upside. So that's really why he's up there on the list. I still think there's several better captain plays below him, but he's certainly viable. Kamara's on there. What's that?
He's got the big upside, but it's been gross this year.
Not been upside yet this season. Kamara is interesting because, number one, you're right about the Jameis piece. I think that's something we have to pay attention to specifically for Kamara. The other thing is Kamara has scored exactly 0 touchdowns this season, and that's a big deal when you're priced this high on DraftKings. He's a high volume guy. It's certainly possible he could get to 20 points or so without scoring a touchdown, but I don't even know that gets you here in this game. So that's something to at least be aware of. Kamara, he will get reps, he will get usage, but the touchdowns haven't been there. So Hopkins, we talked about him. He's a beast. He'll be a full go. No Marshawn Lattimore. The Saints defense has given up 30 points several weeks in a row, I feel like, and they stink. So D-Hop is 100% in play as captain. He'll be one of my highest exposed guys. Probably not so much. And to your points, I love Olave. His price is so cheap on DraftKings. He'll probably be my second highest exposure.
He's priced as a WR2. And he's a clear-cut WR1 for this team. So.
Behind Hopkins.
Yeah.
And then Geek, I mean, you have to throw it out there too, right? Zach Ertz, worth a look. Worth a look. Rondell Moore is basically pennies. He's worth a look. And Juwan Johnson as the dartiest dart of all time.
It's too darty, man. It's too much. It's too much. I think you could stop here. You don't need these.
Stop. Okay.
No Ertz, no Moore, no Juwan. Ertz cannot put up a big score.
You are infatuated with Chris Olave, which is why I think you're saying that. And that's okay. That makes sense.
Stop
Oh,
right
did
there.
I just give you all the reason to just like go all in on this kid?
I mean, the fact that the numbers line up, the metrics line up with my brain. Do you know how infrequent that is?
Hammer it,
Well,
baby.
All
if
about
I
it.
want to throw in any kind of contrarian, I would say that if looking at the New Orleans specific showdowns and the Arizona specific showdowns, it's still Kyler Murray and Kamara as the predominant 20+% captain plays for both of those scenarios. Just from their histories independently of what the general like market is on across the board across all games. But they're both right now, according to our projections, going to be owned underneath where they're hitting at. So they're both hitting at higher than 20%, and they're going to be owned at a lower than 20% rate. So if you wanted a reason to get leverage on Kyler or Kamara, that would be reason enough to go overboard on it. Because like you could play like what their percentage hits are at 25% ish, and be in line with kind of how often they actually hit captain spots.
These numbers are going to change a little bit.
I think so too. I think they'll be higher than what we set with what we're
These
showing
numbers
those
are all
two
going to
at.
change a little bit. So let's not. I don't place too much emphasis on Wednesday ownerships for a Thursday showdown. I do think we'll see some. We don't. Quarterbacks are changing. There's some things that will adjust here. But I'm telling you right now, I'm down with those guys. Listen, Kyler Murray has been ass. Sorry, it's true.
Is he due though? Is he due?
No, he's due. He's getting worse as a player. He's actually regressing as an NFL player. He's getting worse rather than better, which should not happen with a young player. You know who's not getting worse? Jalen Hurts. Like, you watch this man level up after an offseason, and you think in your mind, oh, yeah, that's what should happen with an NFL player. They work on their craft an entire offseason, and then they're better when they come back the next year. Kyler Murray comes back worse than he was the year before. He's throwing it in the ground. The footwork's a disaster. I don't know what's up with this guy. And then so he's gotten worse. So and he doesn't run for touchdowns anymore. He used to be a touchdown hog. He used to, like, when you were down by the 5, you knew Kyler was running in. Why is he not running for those touchdowns anymore? If they can't throw for one, you might as well. You
can't get to the 5. That's the problem.
No, but even when they're there, they don't. They try to throw.
They got to try. They got to try 3 times to do it. Throw it first before they'll run it.
But he's never been able to throw for a touchdown. The difference was they would get there and then he would run it in, and that made sense because the kid can't throw for a touchdown. You have to be a real quarterback to throw for a touchdown. You can't be an athletic dude who runs around and then throws the football to whoever's open. That doesn't work in the red zone. That's why running it in worked for them. You can move the football between the 20. When you're down by the red zone, you need to be an actual good quarterback who knows how to have touch on the ball. You know, I guess with Hopkins back, that'll help because at least that one basic corner pass will be there for them. He's a big dude. He's not even that big, but like he can go up and get the football. So I guess that'll be back for them, but I don't really know. I don't know why he doesn't run for touchdowns anymore, but that could change. That could change right here. He could be watching this and be like, why aren't I running for touchdowns? And then he's like, oh, shit. Yeah, let me start doing that again. And then all he has to do is make a decision to do it, and it will happen. Oh, my God. So angry. He's on my dynasty team.
You know what I mean? From my perspective.
Yeah. Eno does not need to be here either. Take him off. No Eno, no Ertz for me. No more. I'm not criticizing Bobby Millions. Hell no. I never critique, but I'm just saying no.
Hey, last Thursday night game, we said no about Alec Pierce, so we know where that got us.
That is true. And I definitely said no about Turd Ferguson on Monday, and that didn't work out.
I picked up Alec in season long. I think he's got some. I mean, he's definitely got skills, man. That guy's talented and huge.
I like Alec Pierce as well. Although I got to tell you, he was shit on a lot by pundits as a pick. Like the dynasty community was kind of down on Alec Pierce. They said he was one of these workout warriors, but he seems to be beyond a workout warrior. He seems to be actual good. So we'll see. Rondell Moore. So I'm just looking at some salaries here. Olave 7,400, almost a must play. Ertz at 7K, 10 targets, usually pretty good. Rondell Moore, actually, I'm going to take away my no. He can make a big play, Bobbywow. You're right.
Look how cheap he is.
He's very cheap, and he could make a big play. All that's missing from Rondell Moore is him breaking one of these plays for a big play, and then boom, sky's the limit on him. So actually, I'm going to take away my no on that one. I think it's fine. And
the thing about him too, Geek, is he played every single snap last week with Marquise Brown in. By the way, he played every single snap, so he will be on the field,
and he's done it before. Like we've seen it last year on multiple weeks, actually. So it's not outside of the realm of possibility that he can get you there. He's at least a good flex play, but potentially an acceptable captain play as well.
Let me throw this out there at you, Bobbywow. And you wrote this for Andy Dalton, but I'm assuming this applies to Jameis Winston as well. Are you you're just like, screw it, let's just fade these guys. Whoever the quarterback is, I'm out.
It's a little tougher for Jameis. I don't think I can fade Jameis just because he has a little bit of upside. I'll be way underweight though. Andy Dalton, we know what we're getting with him. I put it in there. The last ceiling game we saw from him, which is what we'll need at 10K, honestly, given the people around him, was December of 2020. That's the last time he threw for 3 touchdowns and 300 yards. So I am very comfortable completely fading Dalton. Flex on DraftKings included and on FanDuel included, especially MVP. So I said in the notes, if Andy Dalton beats me, I'll tip the cap to Andy Dalton. But I am more than willing at 45% ownership to fade him.
That's a lot of ownership.
If you're playing Olave and your captain, are you still fading him?
Yes, 1,000%.
Yeah. Do not. Somebody asked that question, and this is all right. So for your next assignment, Hunter, get the stats off of DraftKings and FanDuel if you could, but DraftKings on how often I think we have this number, but how often a wide receiver captain needs to be in there with their quarterback. You'll see it's not something you ever want to lock. That's what I've discovered anyway.
Yeah, it's not a lock play.
Definitely not something I want to make a rule for. Don't mind it, but not making a rule for it for sure. All right, so a couple other in the turd zone here. Listen, you got Trey Queasies, you got Marquez Callaway. I don't like any of these guys, but they're there, and anyone. This is where it gets gross. So you might need to play a little bit of Traquan. You might need to play a little bit of Callaway, and it doesn't feel good. It feels bad. I like the kickers. Greg Dortch, 1 star. That's about as many stars as he needs. And I mean, look at all these. This is not ideal. This is what makes it tough.
A couple things to address, Geek, real quick. One, Robbie Anderson. We know the Cardinals traded for Robbie Anderson. He is going to fill some of the void of Marquise Brown. He will not be filling that void tomorrow, even if he plays. They've already said he will have very limited playing time, even if he suits up, which is unlikely. So he's a full fade for me. Don't fall into the trap of playing him when he's announced active tomorrow, if he is.
Gross. Anyway, but yeah, I like getting off of Robbie Anderson would be nice. That would actually save us some heartache. So that is good to hear. Juwan Johnson right there in the kicker price point. Rather have a kicker. AJ Green, not
$1,200 cheaper even. Yeah.
He's a little cheaper, but I'd still rather. I mean, if you're giving me a choice of him or kicker, I will take the kicker.
Sure.
It's not to say that Juwan couldn't have a good game. He could, but I'd rather have the kicker. And then it's just, I mean, could we make a rule? All right. So my Keontae Ingram rule is going to be, I don't feel like we need Arizona running backs, but at $400 at that level of price, he needs to do so little to get there. I actually like Keontae.
The question, Geek, is will he get a little bit more run now that we saw Benjamin totally suck last week?
Yes.
Because he was in for like 90% of the snap. I think Keontae got like 3 carries.
Hunter, you into Keontae? Maybe a little Merlot?
Yeah, I mean, I hated how bad Eno was last week, but like that's just Arizona running back situation is just doomed to fail regardless. So I mean, he's so cheap that like he doesn't need much, but he's not going to get much either. Like,
we're just gonna ignore the fact that I made a pun about Keontae
I like the pun.
being red wine.
Yeah.
Merlot.
Put it this way. Number one,
Bobby
that was
doesn't even
funny.
know. Thank you.
It went over my head the first
I'm not
time. It
going to
did.
allow that to go unnoticed. All right. I spent a lot of time working on that. Why we started 5 minutes late because I was prepping that. I'm not going to allow it to go unnoticed.
That's on me, Geek. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, Bobbywow. Hell no. All right. What were you saying?
Let's say, put it this way. He's the best turd punt. Keontae Ingram.
Yeah,
There's
like
no
it.
one in that range better if you're looking to punt somebody for sure.
No, I really like it. I think it's
yeah.
He's gonna play some snaps, and Eno got hurt last week. That means he's getting hurt again.
He's definitely the best, I think, of the turd plays down there that won't get you a 0.
All right,
so
we're gonna make a lineup.
To that.
We're gonna make a lineup.
Can we do one more thing, Geek, while you're going here?
Yeah,
I think we need to address the Taysom Hill thing really fast.
Oh yeah, Taysom Hill needs to have a whole long discussion. What do you do with Taysom Hill?
Taysom Hill is not cheap. He is pricey. On DraftKings, I believe he's
up at 7,200. That is a lot.
Yes. 7,200. So here's the thing.
Priced as a top end tight end, basically.
I don't think one touchdown gets you there with Taysom Hill.
No.
On DraftKings. I don't. Which one touchdown is possible? 2, he's plus 1,100. So number one, I don't like Taysom Hill in general. But number 2, I like to make emotional hedges because I'm fickle. And I kind of like the idea of fading Taysom Hill in DFS and then placing a 2 touchdown wager with a couple bucks at plus 1,100. That way, if he decides to ruin the slate, I'm sitting okay over here. But I at least have him faded in DFS because I think that's the play. I mean, he's got to score twice, realistically.
I like that idea. So you double down on the 2 touchdown on the sports book.
Yep.
And maybe don't use him here. Listen, I don't mind. It was a much harder decision with Taysom when he was coming in. Actually, they had him as a quarterback for the first bunch of games, so you couldn't even play him. But like at $6K, but like when he was a $3,500 player or a 42, then you're like, ooh, that 1 touchdown might get you. You're right. At $7K, 1 touchdown, that's not getting there. That's an 8-pointer or a 9-pointer if he runs for 20 yards. He needs a second touchdown to throw for a touchdown or to break a big run in order to get at 7,200. I would say the 14-ish fantasy points he needs to be in the conversation to have hurt you.
Well, because Geek, he's got to outscore Rondell Moore. He's got to outscore Zach Ertz. He's got to outscore Chris Olave. I mean, there's some legit options in his price range already as it is. So I totally agree.
What about Trey Quizzy? I don't like him at all.
It's tough to like him. I think Callaway is the better of the two just because he's cheaper. But
I almost feel like they accidentally, like they don't know what they're doing, and that's why they raised his salary more than Callaway. Callaway is definitely a slightly better play than Traquan. All right, let's make a lineup, and then we'll jump over to FanDuel. We don't ignore the FanDuel. We love the
just one point I want to make on the Taysom thing, not to pound it into the ground, but I mean, I totally agree with you there, Bobby. He's a better play when he's not as obvious and he's not going to be as highly owned. The scenario that I see that's going to work for him is with Winston and Dalton banged up and potentially not at 100%. If they decide to give him a longer run at quarterback in this scenario, he could smash, right? Like if there was a week where he doesn't do what he did that one week where he runs in 3 touchdowns and passes for 1, like that's never going to happen again, right? So the only other position where he scores really highly and makes sense to play is in the case where he gets a longer run at quarterback. And that could happen, right? Like that's a possible outcome tonight. That you could
so many quarterbacks that are healthy.
The problem with playing that outcome is that a lot of people are going to be playing that.
Yeah. Let's see what the ownership is on him. I'm just curious now. The ownership
15%.
It's not high ownership. So no captaincy, and 15% flat. It's not high. It might be more than where he should be, but it's not a high ownership. I'll tell you that right now. So, all right, let's build this lineup here. Olave is my guy this week. I already told you guys it's happening. So I think he needs to be in the lineup. I love Will Lutz as well. I don't think that the Cardinals are good enough to pull away with the game. I don't even think they're winning. I think it's close, which means field goals will be a factor for me. So I'm keeping Will Lutz. Plus, he's also an actual good kicker. DFS up north has taught me that like the kicker talent at least has some level of it matters.
Yeah, and I think if Matt Prater ends up kicking, and it looks like he will, he's got the leg and the credibility.
When you say Matt Prater, I don't see him in this slate though. Like, do we know who the kicker is for the Cardinals?
Well, it'd be Prater or Blankenship, but Prater should be in there. No
Yeah,
one's
he's there. He's there. Scroll down to the kickers.
Oh, there we go. Wait, it's not Amendola.
It's one of the two.
Amendola. They cut Amendola after he missed the extra point. He's gone.
Oh shit, and he's not participating. All right, so right now we don't know what's going on there.
It'll be Prater or Blankenship.
Yeah, Rodrigo is my guy.
Yeah, I know. It might change things for you.
By the way, I'm playing Rodrigo everywhere if he's in this. That's my guy. And I'll rock my Rodrigo glasses. I got a pair that look like Rodrigo's.
Whew.
If I knew this in advance, I would have worn my matching. God damn it. I can't find it during the show. That's all right.
That's why Josh was saying your brother's kicking.
Right? I'm kind of Rodrigo.
Yeah, you got a little Rodrigo glasses going on there. All right, so here I started off a lineup with Olave. I got Lutz in there, Rondell, and DeAndre Hopkins. So, and I'm going to throw this out to you guys in the field over there. So, I can go Murray. I can go Kamara here.
Is this kind of a little cashy? If it's cashy, I kind of like going Ertz over Moore, and then
I don't think you need to go over. I think they're both in the lineup. It's going to wind up with an elite play, and then one of these two. So we could choose Murray or Kamara. I think you got to play Murray over Kamara.
Is this for cash?
Yeah, let's call it like I do what I call a high likelihood of a good score. I don't see the point of making a crazy GPP lineup that's likely to take down the Millie Maker. Like, it's silly. I'd have to use some insane turds in here. It would look terrible on screen. So I just want to build like I'm calling it a hybrid lineup where I can enter it in a 100-person contest and potentially win it. That's the lineup that we build on these shows. I'm not trying to build to win the Millie Maker because, again, that lineup just looks so stupid on camera. It will look stupid until it wins. So I'm never going to do that. But Ertz, like, this is okay. Do we like? So I guess my question is, can I make a lineup that doesn't also have Kamara in it? Or should I look for a way to go Kamara instead of like an Ertz type, and then figure out who at this price point, like you could close it out with an AJ Green or somebody who's not likely to do a whole lot, but could get a couple points. You know what I mean?
Jawan Johnson is $100 away. That's brutal.
I kind of want to put Keontae in there.
Oh, jeez. I feel like there's one guy that you latch on to every showdown slate.
It's Olave though. It's not Keontae, but I like Keontae. I don't know. He's got me intrigued.
I like this. I like this better. I like the 3-3 better than a 2-4.
I don't mind this. You know what? I'm going to leave this last spot open for anybody to make their own decisions, right? We cannot get to Jawan Johnson and also have Murray in here and Kamara. It doesn't work, Bobbywow. It does not work. And because we have Hopkins in here, I kind of want to go with Murray over.
What's the cost on the other kicker?
It's 4,200.
Yeah, it's going to be way up there.
Sometimes it's 38, and I was like, that might have just worked, but no.
No, I mean, obviously we could get rid of Lutz. Yeah, I'd rather have Jawan, but we could go AJ Green. But I think this is your turd spot, right? I'm going to use my turd. Everybody got their own turd. You
get a turd. You get a turd.
Yeah, let me have my turd.
Play your turd, man. I like it.
Keontae Ingram. Boom. I'm putting it in. Millie Maker winner right there.
Boom.
All right. Guys, we're going to talk FanDuel in a second, but before we do that, I got to mention the sponsor of today's show, No House Advantage. The house has no advantage in this game. It is a tournament against other people, a pick'em tournament. So basically, here's how it works. Thursday Night Football. This is the game we're talking about, right? They have this contest. You pick 7 props, each one assigned a points value, and you can pick whatever one you want. Your favorite prop, points value. Like I'll show you my favorite one. Chris Olave, over 5.5 receptions. Boom. Lock in 7. That's it. That's locked in. Starting with the 7. I just gave it to you. You're welcome. Now all you need to do is figure out the other 6 spots, score the most points in this tournament, and you win $10K to first. Easy money, guys. Go to No House Advantage, sign up with the promo code ARMY. They'll give you a nice deposit match. You can go up against your boy in this big contest. You're probably going to lose, but second place also pays something. So you're fine. No House Advantage. All right.
I dig it.
Dig it. Yeah, it's a cool site, by the way. I play there, and it is a fun contest to play, and it's super easy to make the lineup. And what I try to do is the stuff that we talk about, the stuff that we talk about on these shows, like last week, we're like, oh, Williams going to be covered. So you could play some unders on Mike Williams because he was going to be covered by Pat Surtain the other night, right? And that worked. Yep. So, if you take the props and the books don't really deal with matchups very well. They kind of just place every player at their average. There is advantage to be gained.
Duvernay, I think we're
yeah, we like Hopkins.
Confident.
Everybody play him in your line.
He's not coming in from an injury, so
full go.
Full go.
Nate Green's like, hey, that seems pretty easy.
Hey,
I'm telling
Duvernay,
you. Duvernay,
is there a relation?
No, he's just a fan of Devin Duvernay.
Okay.
These are not the real names all the time. Like this guy, his name is not RV Killing Joke Hunter. He has a different name.
Oh my God.
Thanks.
That's not his actual name.
Thanks, Geek.
I've been doing this a while. I've learned some things. All right. Let's talk a little bit. Now, all right. I didn't even look at your cheat sheet. So let's jump to the FanDuel cheat sheet because now that I think about it, who the hell is the MVP on FanDuel? I guess it's Kyler Murray.
Yeah, it's Kyler, it's Kamara, and you got to sprinkle in Hopkins.
I think you can go pretty heavy on Kyler and Kamara on FanDuel. They're by far the predominant too.
I mean, 4-star, and then it goes down. I would, Eno like 3, 2. If I could change it, I would lower it.
Can you go negative?
I mean, this needs to be like a 2. Hopkins not super likely to outpace Kyler Murray. I don't even see it happening. As a matter of fact, I don't see it happening, Bobbywow.
Maybe not.
I don't see it.
But the reality is, Geek, he is a guy that could make it happen. Hopkins. There aren't many wide receivers who could outpace their quarterback. D-Hop is one of the few exceptions to me.
He would have to throw to no one else.
I mean,
he doesn't have much to throw to. Guess he does.
So basically, he would have to do exactly what he's been doing every
2
week.
touchdowns a hop and a Benjamin, or your guy Ingram scampers into the end zone for the 3rd touchdown. D-Hop is the nuts.
I mean, I think he did it right, like a couple weeks ago or whatever, when Marquise Brown got like 30 points or something, right? So.
I just want to say that if Keontae wins me this slate tomorrow, I'm going out and I'm going to get myself a bottle. I don't even care about fancy wine. I'm getting myself like the real Classico Keontae, aged in a barrel. I'm going to celebrate by forcing myself to drink red wine.
Geez.
You know what? I'll drink the fucking wine on the Players Club this week instead of a Blue Moon. I'll sip Keontae for the Players Club. That's going to be the reward, and it's not going to be regular Keontae. It's none of that shit that you get at the ShopRite. I'm going to the liquor store. Going to ask the person at the counter, bro, show me where the good stuff is. You know how you go to the liquor store and you're getting wine for somebody's house? You're like, show me where the cheap stuff is. I'm going to go into some house that you don't really care for the people whose house you're going to anyway, but you got to bring something. You're like, show me the cheap, what's on sale, but doesn't appear to be inexpensive. Like, give me the $26 bottle that I can get for $12. Where's that? You know what I mean? So now I'm going for the real stuff. If we win with Keontae. Okay. FanDuel.
That was great. And yes, Rick, we are live. Okay. Here's a crazy thing. Geek, Keontae has better odds than AJ Green and Mark Ingram to find the end zone at plus 390. Little fun fact.
That's what I'm talking about. Keontae's got better odds of going in my belly than those guys have scoring a touchdown. All right. So let's talk some FanDuel here because we're gone off the rails. This is just
Totally
a crazy
off the
showdown breakdown. Like and subscribe, by the way. So Kyler Murray, Alvin Kamara, and then good luck after that. Because good luck. You can't play the quarterback. Jameis Winston, maybe a little bit.
Maybe Jameis, but definitely I'm going to have 0 Andy.
Andy, nothing. Andy would find a way to create a wide receiver that outscores him. Like he would figure out that math and it would work. Like Olave over Andy all day. By the way, which I think Taysom Hill belongs here.
Stop it.
Yes.
No.
Kind of does a little bit.
Yeah. Taysom Hill belongs here more than a
Unfaithful.
lot of these guys.
He belongs in my sports book with a $2 bet.
Yeah, I like that play. I like hedging with
That's
your
the only
sports
place
book.
he belongs.
I like hedging with the sports book.
I feel like even though he's not here and only with us in spirit, that DFS Up North should wear a turd hat if Taysom Hill is the nuts MVP.
Yes, we're making that deal for him. Absolutely.
Okay.
100. Both of us will wear turd hats.
You and him are wearing a turd hat for the next one.
The whole show, next show. Yes.
If Taysom Hill is the MVP, FanDuel, we're talking. DraftKings, it's going to be tougher. FanDuel, I'm feeling it. Not really, but it could happen.
Deal.
All right. So
I feel like the only way that happens is if he gets a majority run as quarterback.
Not going to happen. It's just not going to happen, guys. I'm sorry. It is not. That is
what
ridiculous.
If he scores 15 and that's the
I
highest score
love
on
the
the field?
confidence. I love the
He needs to get 2 touchdowns. But what if he scores 15? He gets 2 of his patented, wildcat runs, and 15 is the highest score on the slate because it's just a stink fest.
I think we're forgetting just how bad these defenses are. They're terrible.
But I don't think 15's enough. I don't think 15's enough.
It could be in a game.
Exactly.
They're
for the captain spot.
I'm sorry, but I targeted. I'm just going to bring you guys around, and I want to bring you to my level here and where I'm at. Not my level. My level is very low. I want to bring you where I'm at. I targeted Kyler Murray last week in the best possible QB matchup that will ever happen. You're playing against Seattle. Okay, it doesn't get better than that. And this guy stunk. So all I'm saying is I don't believe in Kyler Murray's ability to not be horrible right now. I think he's playing the worst football of his career, and you cannot put up 7 fantasy points against Seattle. Seattle looked like a reincarnation of the Bears 1985 defense. I was looking for William Perry out there. I was like, who is the fridge on this team? That's for you, Bobbywow.
That was beautiful. Thank you.
That was for you.
Here's the deal. If Taysom Hill scores 10 fantasy points or more, we'll wear the turd hats. If Kyler finishes as nuts MVP, you wear a turd hat.
That's fair.
Okay.
Wait. I think Kyler's definitely finishing. That's like the wait. You took the chalk. You give me someone who's not the chalk. Wait, you're taking the chalk.
The signature is on the paper, Geek. It's set in stone.
The chalk.
Let me say this too, Eno Benjamin. I agree with your takes. Eno is not a great MVP play, but my rule of thumb is anytime a running back, an RB1 is 10% or less projected exposure at MVP, I play that person. I double up the exposure. That's my rule of thumb. So that's why he's there. We know running backs smash on FanDuel, and that's the reasoning. Just to put it out there.
I think Olave is the best play on both sites. And
MVP?
I see not MVP, just a regular play. I think he can be used as an MVP, but I'm not an MVP wide receivers guy on FanDuel. But I'm just saying this price at $11K is ridiculous. That's way too cheap for Chris Olave. A lot of these prices, you could do whatever you want. 11K is way too cheap. Ertz at 10K is probably too little. Rondell at 9K is probably too little. And even Taysom, he's playable. This is FanDuel. It's FanDuel. It's not DraftKings. Playable.
And
at
just wait
10-5.
till you see your salary when you don't play Andy Dalton. You literally can do anything.
You can do whatever you want. These salaries are too cheap. So let's go ahead. I think this turd zone is almost too turdly.
Agreed.
To even need on FanDuel. FanDuel doesn't require us.
Juwan Johnson is like the one guy down there I would consider, and maybe Ingram for you.
Yeah, it would be Ingram for me, but like this is more of a somebody gets hurt situation. I don't want to do that for this lineup though. But like when you go, as soon as you see, Rondell Moore is down here. Where's who else is down in the cheap zone that we can get a touchdown from? So the kicker is Will Lutz. I like
Juwan
that.
Johnson is the cheapest that I would go.
Juwan.
I think he's 6,500.
Yeah, you can put Juwan in there. He's just all right of a play. And then we can finish it out with, look at this. You got to play Olave. So this is one way to do it. Now, what's interesting.
But you're naked.
What's that?
You're naked. With Murray.
I can't do that. You cannot have Murray can be naked in the lineup, in fairness. But no, I don't love this. So
old Murray can be.
I'm going Zach Ertz over Will Lutz. That's my switch there.
Where's Hopkins?
12-5.
Full Kamara.
Yeah, let's see here.
Or Olave.
No, I like Olave better than him.
You're telling me you like Olave better than D Hop?
Yes.
Right.
I love Olave. Don't take my Olave love away. That's my guy. He's the only person they have to throw to.
DeAndre Hopkins?
But Hopkins is competing with Rondell and Ertz and
sure.
Just those.
I love him too. Just for I love.
Like, they have no one else to throw to but Olave, whereas Hopkins does have some competition. But yeah, I think
where's your Keontae? How expensive is Keontae?
Oh, you can't play him on.
He's
FanDuel.
The same 6,500.
Oh,
yeah. So it doesn't really work. So there's really that's what it is. If you play Kyler and Kamara, you can't really get. You need a $6,500 guy, and again, Juwan or Keontae or one of those two. You got to be down here.
If you want to go nuts.
Cheap.
Or the other way to go is to get rid of Kamara, and then you can actually play a bunch of these middling guys and make it work. So I could go kicker. Let's do that again. Kicker. And then I've got 11-2, and let's see what happens if I put in Hopkins, and I'm left with 10K.
Got Ertz.
Olave's in there, and yeah, this is the one that fits for me better. So it's either going to be a version with Kamara in it or a version with Hopkins in it. The Kamara version has to use one of Keontae or Juwan. The Hopkins version, this is pretty middling, but you end up stuck with a Zach Ertz who probably needs a touchdown, even though he's a PPR guy. Not as good on FanDuel for me as he might have been on DraftKings, where the PPR. I say that, yeah, Nate's got it right. Let's do a turd hat. That should be the turd hat comp.
But I love Olave. That's not the thing. I mean, if you want, we can.
No, you can't force it. You can't force it.
I like this lineup, but I also hate the fact that we have no running backs in it. But
not having the running back or quarterback from the opposing team is tough. That's tough for me to get past.
No, I think the better one does appear to be the version with Kamara, but Kamara will burn you. So you know what? All right. So this is a cheaper.
Lock it in. You might have it right there.
I'm locking.
I do like that lineup a lot, though.
Yeah, I think it's unusual. I think it's pretty good. But yes, I let's do the other one too, so that we have a record. Hold on. Let me do the other one too, so we have a record of the two lineups that we talked about, and we'll see which one does better. So the other version was Kamara in there, and yeah, the negative to this one is you got to play freaking Juwan or Keontae. I'm going with Keontae. And then Olave, and of course,
is Kamara that much more than Kyler Murray is?
Kamara's 15K, Kyler Murray 17K. So with this approach, and I put Will Lutz in it again, the best we could get to is 7,500, but I don't think anybody is good at 7,500. I don't like 7K. So it does. It forces you into the zone, and then we choose between these two guys.
Yeah, and I'm not putting Keontae in there with Kyler as MVP QB, but yes, I agree.
So you want, but he doesn't have a pass catcher at all.
What happens if you put Kamara as your MVP?
It doesn't change the price. It's the same on FanDuel. There's no, you just have to put the highest score in there. It does not change.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Price. So it doesn't affect anything. I get maybe Marquez. I don't know. I see what you mean.
You got to get rid of Olave here. That's what you got to do. Hate to say it.
You're hurting me right now. You kind of have to play Hopkins, don't you? And you can't get Lutz in there because it doesn't work with Lutz. So, or maybe Moore. Oh, how about, wait. Hold on. Hold up. Magic is happening. No. See, the problem is here. As soon as you get to the zone, it gets gross.
That's why I'm saying you got to get rid of Olave. Yeah. You got to play Quez or Traquan instead of Olave.
Actually?
Or Juwan. Juwan gets you D-Hop, but
yeah, you got to go to Juwan.
That's ugly. It's ugly.
I don't like
the first lineup you play is the way to go.
Entry on this one. I don't like it. I'm not liking it. I'd rather have Keontae. I'm going with Keontae.
No, I don't hate that.
Wait, who did I use? Did I use Keontae in that other one? No. Actually, I don't want to put too much of him in.
What's that song? Is it Kiki? Do you love me?
Yeah,
is that not a Drake song.
It's Kiki. It's Kiki.
I need you to sing about Keontae if he scores. That's what's got to happen on the next pod. Replace Kiki with Keontae.
He's definitely scoring.
Okay.
Did you see what I did the other day in Slack when I was waiting for somebody to make a big play and then I played a song about it. God damn it.
It was KJ. Wasn't it?
Who?
It was KJ Hamler, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it was Drop the Hamler.
Yes.
It was Cypress Hill. Cock the Hammer. Do you guys know that song? Cock the Hammer, it's time for action. No. Oh my God.
I know it only because of last week.
Your hip hop knowledge makes me sad. Saddens me. Both of you. I thought the song was awesome. All right. That's going to do it. Showdown breakdown. Homework assignment. Get on YouTube. Type in Cypress Hill, Cock the Hammer. It's an awesome song. Good luck tomorrow, everybody. Let's crush another showdown. This one's weird.
Gonna be great.
But we win these weird ones. You know?
I love this one on DraftKings.
Play lots of Rodrigo Blankenship, lots of Will Lutz, tons of Olave.
Get your emotional hedge in with Taysom with me.
Yeah, a little emotional hedge. I think we're gonna do it down. Yeah. I got the feeling. Hunter says load up on Olave.
I'm gonna go. I've decided during this call or during this showdown, I'm going 100% Olave captain tonight.
Oh my gosh!
I know. Me and Bobby have been having this conversation, and like I have this theory about like if I go with what I feel like is the best play, you know, like based off of the numbers on every showdown at 100% captain, will that pay out over time by hitting the nuts lineup more often when I get their captain right? I'm going to take huge losses when I don't get it right. And last several I've tried this on, I've missed. Fucking Melvin Gordon missed big. But
why did you choose Melvin Gordon? Choose more wisely than that.
That was bad. That was a bad choice.
Yeah, choose more wisely than that. But I like it.
I was playing the numbers. The part about this is that like I got to play what the numbers say, regardless of whether it makes sense or not, in order to do this theory, because otherwise I'm going to be playing against myself every time I make a choice.
Right? I like the theory. Do you do 150 or do you do 20?
I'm just doing this test in the 20 max.
Okay.
Right. So because I want to try this out without killing my bankroll.
I mean, you should definitely be doing it in the 20 max, but if you can find like if you could find a what do they call those? A mini max that would be the other way to do it.
Well, you're not gonna. So here's my thought is like the whole, this came out of a genesis of that. I feel like the majority of the people that listen to these don't mass multi-enter 150 lineups. Like that's a smaller. And when we talk about percentages that we want to play in the captain, did my video? Okay. Yeah. I feel like that it's more appropriate when we start saying, oh, I'm 5% this and 10% that, to when you're mass multi-entering, right? Like 5% in a 20 max is one lineup. So it's
can't do that.
Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to break it down like that. So rather than getting too distributed, even with 3 or 4 captains, the percentages of like, even if you get the captain right, getting the rest of it right is really low, right? And so, yeah, you might make a little bit of your money back on those weeks when you know, out of those captains that you got right, but the net, I think the net is a loss over time.
You can't do that. I do 20 max also on occasion, and you're totally right. You need to be on your captain. Got to be minimum 50% and choose 2. And I'm all about. I like what you're doing. Just saying, screw it. I'm making my bed with this one guy. All about that. I think that's a great idea. But I think you can do it at 150 and really actually hit the nuts when you're right. Whereas with 20, listen, when I do 150 and I've got 12% on a guy, I'm getting 20 lineups with that person. So, and I'm not winning, even when they win. So I don't even know. I don't even know if that's enough. I think you should definitely be doing that with 20, and you should consider doing it and lowering the number of captains in general that you use down. You know what I do? I do load up on the ones that I think are the best, but then I also like to throw in the kicker and the little turdly guys that just a couple of lineups might get me there, like the Ferguson situation from the other day. I didn't do that, but I could have seen, like, if I was handcrafting, making one lineup where I'm like, hey, let me throw the $200 guy in.
I did that. I actually did that. I put Ferguson in a captain one, and I also did Dulcich, you know, and you know, they did okay. I think they both cashed or whatever, but
they definitely should have cashed. But yeah, you need the other studs on that slate to all work
like I still missed on the rest of the plays, right? Yeah. I even posted in the channel, I think, and they were like, yeah, good luck hitting on the rest of those turds like Melvin Gordon and such. But
you were like, wait, I was all in on Melvin. What are you talking about?
So, I know, like the rest of all my lineups are
we looked at matchups. You look at matchups instead of looking at the player and his dustiness.
Yeah.
And Melvin Gordon just is not good. That dude is not fumbling twice.
What happened in that game? Like,
so good at football.
They just benched him. Like, he's dead to me.
Yeah, they're done.
Hackett is a freaking liar, man.
Don't believe.
Oh yeah, he's starting for us next game. Yeah, bullshit.
Don't believe in Hackett. Don't believe him. All right, let's wrap it up. Where my turds at? NFL. We kept Bobby way too long. I hope we didn't keep you too long.
No, we're good.
Where my turds at? Thursday Night Football. Like, subscribe. Sign up at DFS Army. Promo code TIPOFF gets you 20% off whatever. Every plan. We have never done it before. Every plan. We're making a push for NBA. We want to show you what you've been missing. Make sure you sign up at DFS Army and join our Discord. It's key for NBA. I will jump in Discord in about 10 minutes from now, as it is 6:20. And within 15 minutes, I'll knock out a couple of lineups for tonight's NBA. I'll put no effort into it. So make sure you're in our Discord. We got all the sports going nonstop. And, of course, the best NFL team in the business, Bobby Moneybags. We got Hunter in the background over here crunching numbers. DFS up north, Bob, Keg, the whole crew. Everybody's kicking ass. Everybody's taking names. Marlon, I don't want to name them all. So make sure you are signed up at DFS Army. Promo code TIPOFF, 20% off. Ends on Sunday. Do it now.
Let's go.
We'll see you guys next time. Wait, let me run my my turds ad thing. But yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Good luck this week, everyone.